Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. This is Reads with Lauren. I am Lauren and it's so great to have you here with me today. Today I thought we would chat my April TBR. I have tried to condense this down to just a few books, but I always really struggle with this. A lot of the books I have on my TBR, you have probably heard of before. I would have mentioned them before on this channel. In fact, I had to put some back because I know they were in my TBR for the last couple of months and I haven't gotten around to them yet. And I don't like to be repeating myself if I don't have to. So let's quickly go through the books that I am currently reading and plan to finish in the month of April, and then we'll go on to the TBR that I have. a glimpse of the TBR that I have. So the books that I'm currently reading, I am currently reading Doing Time by Jodie Taylor. If you know anything about me, if you have been on this channel for long, you will know that this is a reread. I read this not that long ago, probably only about 6-7 months ago. I picked this series up on a whim. I had heard great things about Jodie Taylor's writing. I'd only heard of this series. So I read it and I really did enjoy it, but there was a lot of background context that I wasn't aware of. Knowing that, I made the decision to go to the original series, which is the St. Mary's Chronicles, and read through those. And it became very quickly a favourite of mine. I think that I would read Jodie Taylor's shopping lists, to be honest with you. I think that she would manage to make me laugh even with a grocery list. But I finished the whole St. Mary's Chronicles, finished those up last month and made a start on rereading this just because I feel like having the background context now is going to make this a whole new experience. So I cannot wait to get through this. I'm only partway through. I only just started a couple of days ago. But yeah, super excited to keep going with this one. And this one has been around for a couple of months because I started it in January. However, I am working my way through it slowly. I'm so close to the end, and that is the time travel short stories. It's got a lot of stories in it, a lot of stories which haven't been previously published or published in like magazines, as well as lots of classics. So lots of classic time travel stories. I thought that this would be a great way to branch out into that genre a little bit more, see if the classics would work for me. I can honestly tell you that so far I don't know that there'll be many that I'll be going back to. But in saying that, this has been a ride. There has been a lot of stories in here, some that have been very miss and some that have just hit so hard. I really have enjoyed a lot of the stories in here, and I've also pushed myself through a lot, but I haven't DNF'd any of the stories. I haven't skipped any stories. So that tells you something. I think that I've only got like 4 stories left. However, 2 of those are quite chunky. Because these pages have got a lot of writing on them. I'll show you. So yeah, they take a while. They take a while to get through. But yeah, I have enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it so far, and I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of them and getting this book off my currently reading shelf because it's such a chunky boy. I only have a small little bedside table, and I just can't justify this being there any more months. So that is definitely getting finished this month. That's a priority. I also started Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas. So this was a book that I recommended as an honorable mention in my Trans Visibility Day video, where I said that this one has great trans representation in it, but I hadn't read it yet. So I thought that I would, work my way through the honorable mentions and make sure that they're actually good books. And I'm glad that I did because I read Meet Cute Diary, which I spoke about in my March wrap-up video. But yeah, it wasn't probably one that I would have recommended if I had read it. So that's really good. However, Cemetery Boys, I am loving so far. It is wild. It has just thrown me in the deep end right at the beginning, and I absolutely love it. I think it's great so far. I can't wait to keep going with it. I did go into more detail about what this book's about in that Trans Visibility Day video, so check that one out if you haven't already. I'm also listening to a couple of different audios. So I started last month The Resilience Project by Hugh Van Cuylenberg on Spotify, and I ran out of hours. So that has had to wait until this month where I will finish this one. The reason that I picked it up is because my kids' school is currently implementing this project, and I thought that it would be really interesting to learn a bit more about it. I'm enjoying it so far. Like I said, I ran out of hours, so it's been a couple of weeks since I delved into it, but it was really talking about his experiences living and working overseas and bringing these things that he's learned and picked up along the way to schools here, and it's been really good so far, so I'm looking forward to finishing that one. And I've also delved back into Doctor Who, so I've picked up the first book in the 11th Doctor, which is Apollo 23 by Justin Richards. I am listening to it in audio, and it's okay. I think I find the audios that are recorded by the actual Doctor, so like David Tennant as the 10th Doctor, and I've heard Matt Smith is in a couple of the audios for his books, so I'm hanging out for them. But the ones that aren't narrated by them, I just tend to plod my way through slowly. In saying that, they're great, they're a lot of fun. It's just like a Doctor Who episode, and I'm sure that I will finish it this month, and I'm hoping that I'll get a couple more in this month as well, because yeah, I was really pumping through them for a while and then I stopped. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But let's make a start on the little pile that I've got here, my little TBR for the month. You will have seen some of these before, and I'm not going to go into too much detail, otherwise this will end up being a massively long video that's just repeating what I've said in previous videos. But I'd really like to get my hands on Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. I have a couple of Maggie O'Farrell's books already up in like my top shelf, which is like books that I know that books that I love. So I'm hoping that this author will be one that I enjoy as much as I think I will. I've heard so many good reviews about Maggie O'Farrell's writing. A lot of my favorite YouTubers find her to be one of their favorite authors. So I'm super pumped to get into this one. This is about Shakespeare's family. However, Shakespeare is actually not named within this story, but it is the story of Hamnet, who is his son, who ended up passing away. And the synopsis is very interesting. It is, on a summer's day in 1596, a young girl in Stratford upon Avon takes to her bed with a sudden fever. Her twin brother Hamnet searches everywhere for help. Why is nobody at home? Their mother Agnes is over a mile away in the garden where she grows medicinal herbs. Their father is working in London. Neither parent knows that Hamnet will not survive the week. So I'm really excited to delve into this one. I have heard so many good reviews, and I think that Maggie O'Farrell could end up becoming a favourite author of mine. So really pumped to get into this, and I can't wait. I did make a mention about this in my last video, but I have been reading on and off Stephen King books, and I picked up 11/22/63 like mid last year and devoured it. I loved it. It's easily become one of my favorite books of all time. So I picked up Fairy Tale last month, and this month I want to delve into Mr. Mercedes. I've heard great things about this series. I find Stephen King's writing interesting. It's gripping, but there's always things that kind of make me uncomfortable. So in saying that, I really want to read most of his collection. I know that that's a massive list that I'm going to have to work my way through. I'd like to start with this one purely because I just feel like it would be cool to tier rank all of Stephen King's books. And I've only read 5 or 6 so far, and I think that if I can get a fair chunk through his list of works, then that would be a cool video to do. So I'm really motivated to read a lot more of Stephen King's work. I really would like to venture out and try Dark Tower series. I read The Stand, which I really loved, even though the ending was a bit weird and it was a bit long. And I read The Shining. I've read Dr. Sleep. I would like to venture into more of his horrors, but I think that I'm probably going to connect more to the ones that are not necessarily horror. But yeah, so this will be the next one that I'm going to try. A riveting cat and mouse suspense thriller about a retired cop and a couple of unlikely allies who race against time to stop a lone killer intent on blowing up thousands. That sounds all right. It sounds pretty good. Another one that's been around for a little while and I just need to pick it up, especially considering this man has just released another secret project. You're going to know exactly who I'm talking about. But Shadows of Self by Brandon Sanderson. This is the second book in Era 2 of Mistborn, and I thoroughly enjoyed Mistborn. It's probably my favorite. I am reading the Stormlight Archive. I'm working my way through it. I am enjoying it, but I think I really loved Era 1 of Mistborn, so I really want to get into this one. The first book was a lot of fun, and it's kind of like a pew pew western, which is so not up my alley, but Brandon makes everything readable. So I'm super pumped to get into this, and I'm going to start it this month because I've been saying that since I finished the first book back last year. But yes, so pumped, can't wait, really want to get into this series. I want to finish it. I have so many books up behind me that I haven't read of Brandon's, plus a huge backlog that I don't have that I need to finish. So yes, getting onto this one as soon as I can. This is another one that has been on my list a couple of months, I'm pretty sure, at least another month in this year so far, but that is Girl Crush by Florence Given. I've heard really great things about this. It's like a modern day sort of social media Jekyll and Hyde sort of story with a feminist perspective, and I'm just so pumped to get into this. I cannot wait. I have had it sitting there for a while and I'm ready to pick it up. It's just so hard. There's just so many good books and I just want to read all of them right now. Another book that I'd like to read was from my recent haul, and that is Hench by Natalie Zena Walshutz. This combines several of my favorite things: problematic characters, superheroes and supervillains, and admin and data. And so I'm super pumped to read this. This is about Anna. She works for villains, and during her time working as the villains, she discovers that, you know, superheroes are not as great as they could be, and there is data to support her theory. And so I'm so excited to get into this because I love data. Admin is my jam, and yeah, I just cannot wait to get into office politics, comic book absurdity, gripping action, and gut-wrenching body horror. Like, that just sounds so good. I cannot wait. Another recent haul that I'd like to get into is a queer romance called Best Men by Sydney Kaga. I picked this up pretty cheap, but it looks really funny. It looks like a enemies to lovers romance. They connect on this Manhattan rooftop, I'm assuming at a party or something, before he runs away, and they end up both being best men at this wedding coming up. It just sounds really exciting and lots of fun, and I love the cover. I think the colors are so beautiful, so that was probably why I picked it up in the first place. But yeah, really excited to get into this one as well. Another book that I recently hauled, so it was in a previous video, so I won't go into it too much, but I'm completely fascinated with the mind. I think that we are incredibly complex characters and creatures, and I love learning more about it. So I picked up How the Mind Changed, A Human History of Our Evolving Brain by Joseph Jabelli. I think that this is going to be a really interesting read, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. This is the only non-fiction that I have put in this month in my TBR because I didn't have a lot of success last month with the non-fictions that I picked up. But in saying that, every time I jump on Spotify or Audible, I will generally pick up one or two non-fiction. So this probably won't be the only one I read this month, but this is the one that I'm most excited about getting my hands on. And just three more. These are on my Kindle and I'm really pumped to read them. They're high on the priority list, and that is My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry by Frederick Buckman. I have heard that this is gut-wrenching. I do like Frederick Buckman's work, so I'm really pumped to get into this one. And the other two books that I'd really like to read are Boy Parts by Eliza Clark and Lessons by Ian McEwan. These two books sound really good. I've had them on my radar for a little while. Boy Parts focuses on a woman who photographs men and then they disappear. I'm trying to say this as PG as possible, but think American Psycho, with the protagonist being a female. Yeah, I'm pretty pumped to read that one. Lessons, I think, will be quite an uncomfortable read. It is, set after the Second World War and after Chernobyl, and it starts with Roland as an 11-year-old who ends up having a relationship with his music teacher. So this is going to be an uncomfortable read. It also reflects on how that impacts his life, which I'm really fascinated to read. I can't wait to get my hands on this one. It's also been on my radar for quite a while. So that's all of the books that I'm hoping to read in the month of April. I'm sure that there'll be plenty missed, and I'm sure that there will be many more read, I hope at least. But let me know in the comments what you're planning on reading this April. If you have read any of the books that I have listed, let me know what you thought of them, and enjoy the rest of your day. Get out and enjoy the sunshine if you've got sunshine. Enjoy the rain, curled up with a book if it's raining. I hope that you have a really good rest of the day, and I look forward to seeing you in a new video very, very soon. Goodbye, my darlings.